Hello and welcome to the DFS_PhD show for the main slate on December 17th. I believe it's week 15 now. Remember, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, someone's got to win that money. And hey, it's a Twitter follower today. DMark0 winning a solo 200K. You know, I like that. I saw him shouting out the stochastic contest simulator. So whether it's stochastic or whether it's Saber Sim, there's a reason why I'm telling you guys that is the highest value thing to do. And I saw in his, he dabbles in DFS. So I think he might be a professional DFS now. That's how we call ourselves when you win six figures. I have to do tax planning. So for today, for the football slate, I don't know what's going on with this guy, the weather guy. He doesn't like, in baseball, he has kind of rules and stuff for when stuff matters. But in football, he doesn't really go by his own rules that much. So I try to like, I look at the correlations and wind speed data. I was about to say, basically, when the wind is over 15, you see a pretty significant correlation with negative lower passing yard games, and the upside is just not there at all when we get past 20 for sustained, right? I mean, I guess we got okay. When we get past 22 and a half, there's zero upside to any game in history. Wind speed versus points, we also see a slight lower tilt to points, especially not as much upside once we get into the higher wind speeds. So it's more about that than it is about rain. I'm not that concerned about rain. We got gloves, we got technology for rain. And so that's why when I see like 15 sustained gusts to 25, we're over here in the gross zone where you're going to have tough long passes. Your guys who you want to catch long passes aren't going to get there, but you can still play guys like Bijan in that game, guys like Miles Sanders or Chuba. Backfield guys are fine. But I'd be dicey. And I mean, but see, like we've got wins around 10 sustained with gusts 15 to 20. I don't know how I feel. I'm still leaving it at what Vegas says for that game because I'm not sure. But for instance, like dry with winds 15 to 20, gusts to 25, that's bad in the Baltimore Jacksonville game tonight. Like I'm going to take the under for the first time in showdown in a long time because that's not yellow. That's like orange. Anyway, to me. So Dallas and Buffalo. Now, see, he's saying that should be yellow orange. No way. I'll put the average wins at 10 to 15 with rain. Who cares about rain? That's like green to yellow for me. So let's see where I've put the actual. I've done a little bit. I should tell you, I've done a little bit of messing around with these projections, mostly in games that I just don't want exposure to. I just don't think we're going to get the upside games from guys. Miami and the Jets. Yeah, so he's got that at yellow. I think that's yellow orange when you've got 15 to 20 miles an hour sustained. That's here. That's bad. That's bad for points. That's bad for yards. We're talking like a significant downgrade here. So anyway, we're like 20% is a lot less passing yards for a team where that's my upside. 20% less passing yards here. Now, granted, I know it's still the Jets or whatever, but I can't be heavy on Miami today in this environment. The teams that I will be heavy on are because there's like good teams play. Like, look at these games, man. How are you going to not play San Francisco, Arizona, or Rams, Washington, or Kansas City, New England when Kansas City's so mad, Dallas and Buffalo? These afternoon, I mean, most of those are in the afternoon window, right? I'm probably just going to have almost no exposure to these early games as a result of just so much weather going on in these early games. Like some of these are going to be like gross. I mean, that's weather and that's Atlanta, Carolina, man. That's going to be just such a nasty thing. Like I joked with my brother to go to that game because he lives in Charlotte, but I know nobody wants to pay 60 cents to go out there because it's gross. Okay, so how does that result? What does that result in for players, quarterbacks, etc.? Let's just look at the overall picture first, and then I'll zoom in. This is my 150, and I'll just show you how I produce my 20 here in a second from the 150. Once we get to, yep, Christian McCaffrey, we're slamming him. I don't know if we're slamming that much. Christian McCaffrey, what's their game environment again? Oh, so the concern with Christian McCaffrey is somebody else for San Francisco scores the touchdowns that make it a blowout, and then they go to Elijah. And I think that's about 50-50. So I'm going to go 50 max on Christian McCaffrey just because of the chance they blow out Arizona before he gets his points, and then he never gets them. Same thing with Trey McBride, except he might be more used for longer because they might be, you're more hesitant to give up at home and stuff. And he's pretty cheap, right? There's a reason Trey McBride is being, 5,200. I don't know. I'll coin flip on Trey McBride as well. He's great with passing volume. I get that. Kyren, yes, I'm jamming Kyren today. He's got the volume. I'm jamming Kyren. I'm jamming Zeke Elliott. I'm jamming Christian McCaffrey. And the rest of the guys I'm getting to for roster construction purposes mostly. So that's the reason why I have so much Tucker Kraft. He's like the minimum. Yeah, the minimum as a starting tight end is pretty good. And you've got slightly better options than that today, too, right? I mean, you have a 2,900 Chiga Okonkwo as well. So yeah, I've got 23% him. Don't miss out on those opportunities today. Don't miss out on those opportunities today. Okay, so now let me go to quarterbacks just to tell you what we're going on with stack wise, and also so I can limit it. Yep, this is all fun. I'm not going to limit any of this. Stafford, Purdy, Howell, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Tommy DeVito. Just a smidgen of Tommy DeVito. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take a smidgen of Tommy DeVito. Running backs. I think I've already talked about them because they're the ones you know. Yep. Now I am gonna let's do the 20 max after this in a second. After I talk about wide receivers a little bit more, because I'm a little bit more conservative with my 20 max build. Let's see, Terry McLaurin, Jaden Reed's good. DeMar, yeah, a lot of value wide receivers. Looks like what we're getting to, and then stacks. It's either stacks or value. That's all you do with wide receiver. Yep, check. And last looks. Oh yeah, only rule today was $200 wiggle room for my entire 150. That's where you'll find the winner today. Hopefully it'll be me. It's been a while. I did take down week 6 for the max whatever it is for the max challenge for SaberSim, but come on, it's week 6. It's almost a long time. 10 weeks since then. Let's get a W. DST, not fading anybody today. Don't care. I don't think I was fading anybody. Maybe I cut out like the lowest ones on my 20 max. Yeah, so let's do that now. I'll clone I don't really have any notes on defenses. I get to what I get to. Who cares? So for 20 max, number one, we set it to 20 max. We set it to 20 max. So we're getting all the right Saber score sorting. Then we go to quarterback and we're a little bit, I'll probably cut down the pool a little bit. We're not going to play the Tommy DeVito darts in the mini max because I don't believe in Tommy DeVito that much. No offense, Tommy DeVito, but I got a couple guys above you here that I need to give more lineups to. Who are those guys, though? Who are those guys? This is 3, 6, 9 guys. That might be fine. I think I'll just leave those. I don't really have these guys are all fine to me. Okay. So, oh yeah, for the people on the audio, these guys who are all fine for the 20 max: Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Sam Howell, Justin Fields, Jordan Love, and Kyler Murray. Yes, they are the top 9 by projection on SaberSim. That's not always how it's going to be, but that is how it is for quarterback for me. And it looks like for running back as well, but I don't think I'm going to get to Chuba in a split. I don't think I'm going to get to Brees in a split in a weird game environment and Bijan in the same weather environment, even though maybe that gets there. I just don't think there'll be that many points scored, even by running backs. Derrick Henry in a split backfield, you know how I feel about that long term. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Yep, because everybody else is in a great game environment or, yeah, has a huge upside. Okay, so, yep. Now, okay, I'm going to leave a few more wide receivers like I always do. Yeah. I'm not going to change the wide receiver pool. I like to have a pretty deep wide receiver pool compared to some people. Tight end, though, I'll be more selective. I don't want Kyle Pitts. I don't want Dalton Schultz. I don't want Taysom Hill. That's probably fine. Cole Kmet would be a stacking piece. Logan Thomas, a stacking piece. Yeah, that's all fine. Now, with flex, I'll be significantly more choosy. I don't really think, okay, those guys are top values though, right? Not that close. Okay, we're going to eliminate these low upside low average Antonio Gibson and Jaden Reed plays, and everything below, maybe we'll be super tight with this. How about that? Let's say everything below 18. Yeah, because I don't want Tyreek in that environment. Don't want Kamara. I just don't think he's appropriately priced, and there's a ton of competition. Debo, yeah, I just don't think they're going to be throwing that much. But whatever. They'll jam him in the wide receiver if we want him in there. The rest of these guys are all fine. Is there any wild values that we've left in here that are really cheap? Tucker Kraft. I don't think I want Tucker Kraft. I don't think I want Wan'Dale Robinson or Demarcus Robinson in my 20 max pool. Now, Chig's an interesting one. Chig allows an entire range. Him and Kraft, I guess. I think I'm going to allow him and Kraft both because they're both so significantly cheaper than all the other guys in Flex that they allow a bunch of different lineup constructions with expensive wide receivers that I think could get there. So that's why I'm leaving those 2 extreme dart throws. And then DST, I told you I'm going to chop down. I don't want the most speculative DSTs. because this is my 20 max. These are the ones I'm going to throw significant money behind. So let's see, of the ones that have a real opportunity, where these are all like about flat, right? Yeah. Who they play? Chicago, Tennessee, Green Bay. I'll be a little bit more selective. Okay. And then I think that's about all I want to do. So then I'll just run the sims, see what happens. This is the general process. Oh yeah, I'll say thank you, by the way, for joining us today. Even when I give you guys just like 2 hours before lock, I still want like 60 of you watch this. That's awesome. And it's great to talk to you. I'm glad. Thank you for welcoming me onto your council of dudes. Please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me in the algorithm. And yeah, it's cool that yeah, you guys appreciate me to some extent as a sports commentator. I like to talk about sports. So yeah, and this allows me to do that without having to just talk the ear off my wife in the morning. And now, she doesn't have to hear me talk about the slate for 20 minutes. You guys get to hear me talk about the slate for 20 minutes. Okay, but that is, I don't really have anything more to say. It's just, I'll just pair through, I guess, the results. Oh yeah, I want to look at the, I want to talk about the stacking. So let's look at stack exposures here once we get them. I'm getting a lot of runbacks today, and I think that makes sense. I was initially concerned because in the early weeks of the year, there were so many values that we weren't seeing runbacks being optimal. However, now that we've got more, come on, lineups, populate. I saw you populating. Okay, good. So they've populated. Yeah, so now I'm getting more runbacks. So that was my overall point here. 35, 45, 50. 55, 60% runbacks. Earlier in the season, it was around 15, 20% runbacks. So I was thinking, do I limit that? Or do I think today the case actually may be that we get more runback winners? And I'm leaning towards the latter. We see a lot of games today where I just don't want anybody from them. I just don't want anybody basically almost entirely from I'd be fine with lineups that have no exposure to the early window. The early window is significantly worse than the later window. Plus, we have a little bit of news that you could maybe get to move on, and you'd have more leverage there. Okay, I was about to say QB 0+6. I'm gonna have to eliminate that one right away. I don't want any QB 0+6 lineups. That's a naked QB with 6 people on the other team. What do we? I can't imagine that scenario. What is the wildest one we've got today? The wildest stack in the pool. I didn't limit it because who cares? It's kind of fun to see what Saberson comes up with. We got QB +5, 5-1, a 4-3, 4-1, a 0-3. Okay, most of them are reasonable. I'll stop making fun of them. What's the most unreasonable stack we went with? A 2-3. Interesting. I could get there today. Which 2 and 3 do you think it is? Oh, it's not going to say. I want to see which it is. It's yeah, Rams and Arizona. Arizona and San Francisco. What a weird lineup. Yeah. Okay, so weird stacks are on today, guys. But that's all I got to say. Remember, you're good enough, you're strong enough. And gosh darn it, someone's got to win that money. And hey, $1 million, pretty cool amount of money. Might as well be